Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Amnesia in the Heezy, and I'm going to be casting a 1 versus 1. This is obviously a custom game because we do see the pink color coming up here. And what is unfortunate about this is that I always try to cast my games without previewing the replay, so I'm experiencing the game as you are. I don't know what's coming up next. Unfortunately, my computer decided to crash about, a few minutes into this game. And from what I saw, it looked like a pretty exciting game. This is obviously, I guess not obviously for you, but it's a low-level game. This is kind of qualifies as Wood League Wednesday. This is a bronze player versus a silver player, at least according to their ladder rankings. So it's going to be low level, so it's not going to be super action-packed, I don't imagine. But the nice thing about lower level games is that you can never know what's going to happen. Somebody could look like they're extremely far ahead, they can have a beautiful opening, but then they just fall apart and don't have any follow-up, and then their opponent just kind of, I've seen games where, actually I just played a game yesterday. I was playing against a Gold League player. I was off racing as Terran. And he had this beautiful timing. He was Terran also, and he came over with a lot of Thors repairing and everything like that. And he took out my main base, and he started being super BM about like, good game, leave now. And I just floated a lot of my buildings to another base, built up a new army, and I completely crushed him. So it's like, you never know what's going to happen in lower level games because they just aren't quite good at finishing the game. But with that intro out of the way, we're going to be introducing the player in the top right-hand side. It's going to be a red Zerg player, FusTup. And he's going to be representing Team UR, which is going to be Unri Valley, it looks like. I don't know, that's not the best little logo there. Can't read the whole thing. But down here in the bottom left-hand side will be our Protoss player, Fish. And he is going to be pink, the manliest color that they offer in StarCraft. And he is going to be representing Team GNR, which is Guns and Roaches. Very clever. Really good... nice reference to a band that only old people will know, or people who have played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And Fish here, it looks like he's going to be sticking off of one base. He was fortunate enough to scout in the correct direction right off the bat. His opponent, however, was not quite so lucky and scouted in the exact wrong direction. And he does need to get this scout over there. The Overlord does come through, so he's going to see that his opponent is on one base. And just now finally putting those probes into his other assimilator because he needs some more gas. So it was nice to get that assimilator up early so that when he needs gas, he doesn't have to worry about building an assimilator and waiting. He can just put those probes into there as soon as he wants that extra gas income. And it looks like he's going to throw down more gates, so he's going to get super aggressive with this Stalker coming out here. Sorry about that little overlay thing there. I forgot to set it the second time since I have to cast this game twice. But... his Stalker, so far, this build being completely countered by a mass amount of Lings. Zergling's pretty good against Stalkers. Usually when you see a Protoss player sticking to one base really long, they're going to be going for Adepts. Or possibly Adepts with Adept upgrade, because Adepts are pretty good. But it looks like he's just going to go for a Robo now, so he's going to start cranking out possibly Warp Prisms, try to drop his opponent on all different sides. Unfortunately, that's not going to be what happens. I've already seen this. I see what he gets out of it right away. And he's just going to stick with those Immortals. But I don't see much further after that, so I'm not going to have any more spoilers after that. Sorry, guys. But these Zerglings going to scout up here, see if there's any sort of expansion. And then it looks like they're rallied to just find any proxies. He's not going to get proxied. I'm not sure what this game is from. Maybe they're used to playing together. He already scouted a couple of different proxy pylons that were up, so... maybe they're used to playing together. Maybe he knows his opponent's going to go proxies. Maybe this is a big tournament with a lot on the line, and scouting these proxies means the difference between $1 million and not $1 million. Possibly their WCS points. I don't know. I'm not sure where this game came from. It was on the Cast It subreddit. It didn't have a lot of spoilers in the title, which I really like. I like to cast games where I don't know what's going to happen. So my computer crashing really pissed me off as far as that goes, but... Fish here going to push out here, and he does take out a couple of these Zerglings. Only a few more remain, so he will have to get a few more out. He does have 8 Roaches on the way. It's going to deal nicely with these units, but they won't deal nicely with Immortals. And it looks like Fish kind of gearing up to take his natural here. This one Zergling going to run in here and scout if that is the case, but no natural up just yet. I'm not sure if he got quite close enough to see that, but I'm pretty sure he did because the Nexus would be right here. But it looks like Fish going to move out now that he's been figured out. The one thing that he does have secret still is his Immortal, which just now popped. He's going to have to walk the whole way around here, though, because of this Sim City, which is good for rushes, not quite so good for getting your units out of your base in a timely manner. And the Stalker's moving up here a little bit ahead. They're going to poke up the ramp there, see if what they're up against, and there's a lot of roaches. He's going to have to retreat right now. This probe moving out across the map. We'll get that proxy pylon up eventually. Not worried about getting a warp prism out like a lot of people tend to do. Instead, he's going to opt for these proxy pylons and get those 1 hour warp ins that are available when you have a pylon with no gateway near. Gateway or nexus. Correction. But then these Zealots here are going to get picked apart by the Temple of Zerglings that are rushing ahead, looking terrifying, and they do get taken out. This Immortal is in the mix now, which is going to prompt Fish to engage, and the Immortal doing quite a bit of work on these Roaches, but the Roaches doing quite a bit of work on the Zealots. The Immortal moves back, microing it nicely. These Stalkers giving as much cover as they possibly can, but there's just too many Roaches, and that's going to cancel another Proxy Pylon, and Fish is on the retreat, but he does have another Immortal that has just popped out, so he's got an Immortal at the top of the ramp, and it looks like Fish will be able to hold because FusTup just not going to push this advantage right now. I think at this point, Fish is really going to want to expand because he is getting quite low on minerals. He's got a few left over. That one has a nice amount, but these far mineral patches, 325, 145, 335, he's only got a few minerals, maybe enough to get an expansion up. You know, your Nexus with a couple of pylons, that takes about 600, 700 minerals. So maybe that's what we'll see next. We got another couple of pylons coming in the base here and a Stargate. Might get to see some Oracle play. Maybe he's going to divide the attention of his opponent. Seeing how Fish has played thus far, though, I'm going to have to say we're probably going to see a Void Ray because Void Rays tend to lend themselves a little bit more to that 1A kind of play that Fish seems to be so fond of. But we've got Ravagers in the mix here that are going to zone really, really nicely. The shield's being activated on the front Immortal there. There are quite a few Immortals in this mix, but can they hold off this many Ravagers and Roaches? It all depends on those Corrosive Bile shots. The Stalkers do pretty well against Roaches as well, getting a nice couple pot shots off here, and the Ravagers do poke up. A lot of Corrosive Biles coming down on that pylon there, half health. Looks like he's going to focus down this pylon quickly. There's no Mothership Core out. Oh, there is a Mothership Core out, but he's not going to use it on that pylon, and now a lot of the buildings are unpowered. Only one gateway, one robotics facility remains. Has FusTup seen the Stargate? No, he has not. And it looks like Fish might have the firepower. He needs to push down this ramp, but he's a little bit afraid to. The shield has already been wasted on this Immortal now, so this engagement going to be a little bit harder for him now. He's going to push out there, still a little bit afraid. He sees that FusTup is gathering his forces right outside of his base, and he's going to be going for a third finally. So he's going to get that third base economy going, getting more pylons up. He's going to leave a little bit of room for his units to move out this time, seeing that he's not trying to turtle in one base any longer. And this Mothership Core going to poke out, see what it can get done outside of its own base. These Roaches and Ravagers do not have any anti-air, so that means that this Mothership Core is going to do quite a bit of work, and it was already in movement, so these Corrosive Biles not going to be able to hit it. If the Mothership Core is still, its acceleration is extremely low, and you can oftentimes hit it with those Corrosive Biles, but Fish, being the awesome Gosu player that he is, already knew that, and he keeps his Mothership Core moving. That's very important, and he's doing a great job scaring these Roaches away. The Roaches feeling a little bit uncomfortable because they just can't engage the army directly, but they also want to make sure they put on a light contain, but this Mothership Core just gets free shots off on it the entire time. Stalkers, Immortals moving out. Now there's 4 Immortals in this mix, which can do a ton of damage to these Roaches. FusTup will have to engage just right here. The Stalkers getting a little bit ahead of the Immortals there, so a couple of small shots exchanged between both players, and it looks like Fish going to try to punish this very, very hard. FusTup going for a double expansion there. He's got a 4th base coming up as well as his 3rd, and these Immortals doing big shots on these Roaches. One falls already. One more getting dangerously low. The Ravager caught behind the group, and it looks like Fish will be able to focus this down and then recall out of there. He's going to focus down some of these drones, and he does about half damage there. He's a little bit afraid. He sees these drones coming down the ramp, and he's going to focus fire on the drones. Doesn't look like he's confident that he can focus this hatchery down without losing his army. So instead, he's going to make sure he kills some drones, which will definitely gimp the economy a little bit. Throwing down a Time Warp, interesting choice, which means that he's not going to be able to use this mass recall. And the Mothership Core trying to fight Queens like they love to do, and they always lose. And he's down to about 50% health now. He's going to have to keep that very, very safe if he wants to use it later or keep it alive. But it, like I said, it's really low on energy. It definitely doesn't have any energy for... It does have energy for mass recall now. I forgot that it's only 50 now. These Immortals on the retreat. Now he has to keep the Immortals alive. Those are his expensive units, and the Mothership Core falls, but a drone does die along with it, so not a total loss there for Fish. He does exchange, his Mothership Core for a drone, but that's always never a good trade, actually. Not for the Protoss player anyway. For the Zerg player, great trade. I'd take that any day. Although, to be fair, I guess the Zerg player didn't really have to kill his own drone either, but sometimes, when you're feeling like your opponent's way too far behind, it just feels a little unfair. You gotta do that. One nice thing, though, is that Fish has been keeping his big, expensive units alive. These Immortals have been staying alive the entire time, so he's got a pretty healthy count of it out. There's one Void Ray in the mix as well, so he's going to have to either hit it with Corrosive Biles or these Queens, and the Queens are spreading creep quite nicely, so they're going to be really close to this Void Ray, and the Void Ray is going to switch targets and try to take down this Queen. Big shots coming down with Corrosive Bile there. Hits the Immortals and a little bit of the Void Ray. The Void Ray really, really low on health. This last Queen does not quite get taken out, but the Queen will take out the Void Ray. And these Immortals now all by themselves. One of them does fall. Another one getting dangerously low, but the Mothership Core does scare them away because the Zerg just doesn't have any anti-air that it feels comfortable using. You can try to use the Roaches and scare the Mothership Core away. Or, I mean, the Ravagers, rather. But again, he did keep his expensive units alive. He lost the Void Ray. He lost one Immortal, but he does have quite a few Immortals here. And the robotics facility is a big, what you're building out of that has a huge premium because you want to get basically everything out of your robotics facility. Later on, you want to get disruptors, but all the time you want some observers out on the map, you want a warp prism out on the map, you want Immortals. So losing Immortals, having to replace them, or losing a warp prism, having to replace it, losing an observer, having to replace it, means that there's things that you're not adding to your army, you're just replacing, because this robotics facility carries such a premium as far as its build time goes. The gateway units are easy to warp in, they're quick, they're cheap, and it's not really that big of a deal. You can throw away your gateway units to a certain extent, as long as you're keeping those expensive units alive. We're going to see an Oracle coming out now, so looks like he's going to try to get a little bit of harass done, possibly going for those stasis wards. I don't imagine that at this level of play, the Zerg are really, really good at sending one unit forward to trip the mines and then sending the rest of their force in. I imagine that these, at this level of play, are going to be huge. They're going to take out huge chunks of Roaches. And we don't really see any transition coming up from FusTup yet. He does have a nice economy going on. He's got 4 bases up and running now. He's got pretty nice saturation on all of them. And he's starting to get some beautiful, beautiful creep spread. He does scout this Oracle really, really early. What is the Oracle going to do out here? It looks like it wants to expose these creep tumors, which would be a horrible waste of its energy. And the Roach is going to try to chase this Oracle down. There's no Spore Crawler here. It's just going to be up to the Queen to take this out. And there we go. We get half a drone. 1 drone, 2 drones, 3.5 drones so far, 4.5, 5.5. Is he going to sacrifice this Oracle? It looks like he will, but before it dies, it takes out 8 drones. Not a terrible trade. It would have been nice if he could have kept that alive, but I understand at this level when... Holy bejesus. Look at that APM. It doesn't look like they have 130 and 145 APM, but they sure do. That's insane. That's like pretty close to where my APM is, and that's pretty nuts. So I mean, these guys aren't being gimped mechanically, at least. What is exactly? I kind of just want to see what we're seeing here. A little bit of spam click in there. He's gonna try to kill this here, and we're doing things. Yeah, I mean, these guys are playing quick. They're not necessarily doing a lot with their actions, but very quick play. And he does have the stasis ward up. Oh, I can't wait to see this. But there's gonna be a big. Oh no, he didn't even pay attention. He's not looking. These Roaches are behind him now. Oh my god, he's going to use Mass Recall. This one Immortal is going to fall easily. Please use Mass Recall quickly, quickly, quickly. Please don't take this fight. He uses the Time Warp. Use the Mass Recall. You still have enough energy. There goes the Time Warp. A couple of Roaches. Damage. He's sending another force in at the bottom here, but this Stasis Ward did trap a lot of them. One Corrosive Bile going down there, and it looks like the Protoss forces did Mass Recall. That's what I want to see. A lot of these Roaches getting taken out. They haven't done a lot back home. And a lot of them are still trapped. They're going to come out pretty soon, though. Are we going to see some overcharge on these pylons? Please tell me yes. Might want to see another Stasis Ward coming up as well. A lot of these Roaches, though, trying to funnel through their Ravager friends. And it looks like Fish is going to GG out there. Very nice attempt at a hold there. Actually, a very exciting game considering how, you know, it was low league, but there still was pretty action-packed. Fish, I think, just need a little bit more economy behind him, but that was a lot of fun to watch. So thank you for submitting that. Whichever one of you did that on Reddit, I could probably check that here in a minute, but I don't like to see who submitted it because generally people submit replays that they won. So I like to not know exactly who's submitting it so that I can kind of be excited at who wins. But nice. I like that, you know, Fish did try to put in a lot of different tech there. I love the Stasis Ward. And I think if you would have been a little bit more careful with that last move out there too, I think you could have done a lot better. But anyway, really well played by FusTup. Nice job focusing on macro, getting those Roaches up. When you're at a low level of play, you don't really need to worry about unit composition. It just matters that you're macroing better than your opponent. So nice strategy with FusTup there. Good play by both of them. I hope, I imagine you guys will both be progressing through the ladders pretty quickly, judging by your play. Not bad at all. Thank you guys for submitting it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.